Welcome to our 5 on 5. Pleased to welcome back Senator Jeff Merkely. Senator, I'm going to spare you the handshake. I'm getting over a little bit.
Okay,
thanks for joining us, though. We appreciate it.
Good to be here.
So we're recording this Sunday before your Jackson-Josephine County town halls. You had one in Douglas County last night. You've done almost 550 of these so far. Anything stand out from last night's town hall and what you've seen in the hundreds of others you've done?
Well, we are certainly seeing the issues change over time, and right now the issue of affordable housing and fentanyl and mental health and, of course, always timber policies. And so it's a lot of challenges to take our state forward and try to have the federal government be the best partner they can to the needs we have here in Oregon.
We're, of course, dealing with this beautiful snowstorm that we all need here in Southern Oregon. It's been a couple weeks since you announced $72 million in new federal funding to the Klamath Basin for critical ecosystem restoration projects and other agricultural infrastructure modernization. What can you tell us about how this whole thing came about and why it's so important?
Well, it was an opportunity because of the bipartisan infrastructure bill, the biggest investment in infrastructure really since the Eisenhower Highway Project. But in this case, infrastructure includes trying to address some of the fundamental water quality issues that affect the Klamath Lakes, that affect the river, and certainly affect the needs of the community from the ranchers, the farmers, the tribes, the fishermen, and so forth. And so it's a big investment in trying to establish that water quality that will help everyone. And I'm glad we got the opportunity to make it happen.
You and Senator Wyden are part of a bipartisan effort on the Senate Agricultural Committee to address long-term drought in the upcoming Farm Bill. Will that impact Southern Oregon if it comes to fruition?
Well, yes, certainly. We've seen areas of the country, and Southern Oregon has been really a case study in the effect of changing weather patterns and drought, and it had a big impact on our snowpack in the Cascades, which then again also affects the availability of water in summer, so absolutely.
The U.S. Department of Housing, HUD, Housing and Urban Development, its continuum of care program is bringing $60 million to Oregon. Will that help homelessness in Southern Oregon?
Well, I certainly hope so. How the state distributes the money is yet to be seen, but this is a challenge that affects every part of the state. So there needs to be federal resources that get distributed to help communities in every part of the state. We need a lot more housing to be built. We need a lot more services for homeless. We need to also address, of course, the addiction and mental health issues that go along with the economic challenges that create a really large homeless population.
I want to ask you about, of course, the partisan politics of 2024. Big surprise to anybody paying attention, right? Of course, Democrats and Republicans now arguing about the border. Everyone seems to think fixes are needed. How are we going to find a compromise to actually put some signatures down on paper?
You know, we had a great bipartisan bill in 2013 that was killed in the House of Representatives. The Senate did its work. Since then, it's been kind of toxic to get people together, but we did this year. We got a compromise worked out, and then President Trump stepped in and said, "I want you to pull that out. I want to leave this issue for the campaign season." And that's unfortunate because the things that were in there, a lot of them would be very helpful, having the right sort of credible fear conversation when people ask for asylum, really increasing the ability to hold asylum hearings on a timely basis, increasing the security at the border with high-tech efforts and a lot more CBP officers. There's a lot in there, including helping to increase the number of workers who can come on temporary permits to address some of the shortages that we have across the nation. So I would like to see good solutions implemented, but right now, in this campaign season, I don't think it's going to happen.
If it hasn't happened at this point, it's going to be a long year, potentially.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We've got a lot of international things to talk about as well. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Senator Jeff Merkely. Senator, you strongly supported Israel in going after Hamas after their October attack. Now you say Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, quote, that his war campaign fails to reflect American values. What do you mean by that? Yeah,
he engaged in indiscriminate shelling and bombing that has resulted in more than 30,000 deaths, more than 20,000 women and children who were killed. The U.S. security apparatus went and worked with Israel repeatedly to say, you've got to have a much more targeted campaign. It can't be indiscriminate. And basically, the Netanyahu government said, mind your own business. Also, the United States said, You've got to get humanitarian aid in. You have the combination of massive displacement, lack of power, lack of communications, lack of food, lack of medicine, lack of water. In other words, all the calamities on top of each other in a kind of a cascading effect. And again, the Netanyahu government said, well, we're not that interested in getting a lot of aid in. And so this is the challenge, because the calamity cannot be overstated. I went to Rafah Gate. I talked to the aid workers who have been in the worst conflict zones in the world, and they say, you've seen nothing like this. No, not in the front line of Ukraine, not in Yemen, not in Somalia, so on and so forth. And the United States really has to weigh in more heavily. And so I've been calling for direct delivery of aid, and the president just started an airlift just a couple days ago. So that's good, but we also need to deliver direct aid from sea to shore, because you can't drop enough food by air. We do need to get medicine to the remaining 12 hospitals. No mother should go through a C-section or a child through an amputation without anesthesia. No diabetic dying because of lack of insulin, so on and so forth. It's a calamity. We've got to address it more forcefully.
Well, I appreciate you braving the weather and making it through to Southern Oregon this weekend. Thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.